The Sondondo River lies at the border between the provinces of Sucre and Lucanas, to the south of the department of Ayacucho. The Huacaña district is a part of the province of Sucre. At 2,200 meters above sea level, it is surrounded by eucalyptus and pepper trees and prickly pear plants, and protected by the Apu, or mountain gods, as are all Andean villages. During the last week of July, the usual calm of this place gives way to the most important festivity of the year.
Yo también soy visita. Yo radico en Lima. Pero de todas maneras tengo que llevar. Y para ganarme algo, gracias a yo soy Máximo Contreras.
It is the festival of water, and at the same time of Saint Isidore the farmer, the patron saint of Huacaña. It would never be the same without the scissors dance. The Cargontes prepare themselves during the whole year in order to pay the cost of the festival. They provide food and drink to all friends and relatives who voluntarily accompany them during the 5 days. They also pay the musicians and the dancers. Although the costs are very high, fulfilling the expectations of the community justifies the expense.
Señor alcalde, muy buenas tardes.
Huacaña es el máximo autoridad durante la fiesta tradicional de nuestro pueblo de Huacaña.
Huacaña no te conocerás. Gracias, carajo. Ahorita, carajo. Ahorita, chaya, carajo. Ahorita, chaya, carajo.
On July the 26th, at mid-morning, the town authorities resign and turn over their duties to the Huacaña, who then has full powers during the 5 days of the festival. In an authoritarian style, half serious and half jokingly, this character is the conductor of the festivities. The first thing he does is to go from door to door and ask for the jacta yarga, or moya, a sort of tax in favor of those who worked in the cleaning of the ritual irrigation ditch.
Sa pawatan nyo kami kasi kanay ka pukin mo rin. 20 años pa gusto na ikukunin ka na rin. Salo ka! Ah, carajo! Asa na siya ima tapos ko siya carajo! Salo ka! Salo ka!
Huamani vive, la tierra, nuestra tierra vive, siempre es el apo urjo, apo pachamama, paiko nawang manyarik spanchik me. Ñuqayku, roapa kuniko, llaqtanchikta sirviniko. Así, señores, Mario, Oli, el costumbre hina chaynataqmi.
During the night, the anticipa takes place, a secret ceremony during which the musicians and the Dansaq, the dancers, offer their performance to the mountain gods and ask for their protection.
Acá para sacar falta uno, carajo. Más ejemplos falta de carajo. Me ha hecho que te mantengo y no lo he hecho, carajo. Rápido, carajo. Rápido, carajo. No, amor de Nacha, ¿qué carajo?
Ahora sí, papacito, lindo. Vamos a estar ahí.
Pero me siento a gusto aquí con mis compadres y mis hermanos, los dos, Adriano y Jesús, pues. Pienso de que toda esta fiesta va a salir muy buena. ¿No, compadrito? Gracias, bienvenido a todos.
Cada uno a su sitio, carajo, hasta 30.
Each group is attacked, consisting of Dansaq, musicians and Cargonte, then goes toward the town square for the first ceremonial encounter. Each stage of the festival has its own special rites and ceremonies, but those of the first night are particularly intense. After paying homage at the main entrance of the Catholic Church, all the Dansaq take part in the first Atipanakui, or competition, that ends well after midnight.
Señores, autoridades, pueblo de Huacaña, año pasado, como hoy día, yo me comprometí.
The villagers of Huacaña are great experts in scissors dancing, and from the first night on, they start to assess the strong and weak points of each dancer. The dancers themselves also compare their own abilities to those of their competitors. Each day, early in the morning, groups of dancers and musicians go through the streets taking the alba, or ritual salute, to the Cargontes and the authorities. The first person they visit is the one who's responsible for putting in order both the bigger and the smaller procession litters of the statue of Saint Isidore the Farmer. This ritual salute, or alba, expresses the profound respect due to those responsible for organizing the festivities. These in turn watch the performance of the dancers and thank them for their visit by offering something to drink.
Estamos dando por cumplimiento esta tarea muy especial y por la misma razón doy facultad pues en este momento ya deberíamos trasladar.
After midday, the villagers start the first procession by taking the litter of San Isidro the farmer to Huacaña. The statue is accompanied by the whole town, and the procession is headed by the cargantes, the dancers and the musicians. Huacaña is a plain that lies about 1.5 kilometers from the village, and there we find the main or ritual irrigation ditch.
A ti llamamos los desterrados, hijos de Eva, a ti suspiramos, gimiendo y llorando en este valle de lágrimas. Ya pues, Señora abogada nuestra, vuelve a nosotros esos tus ojos misericordiosos.
The statue is taken up to the watercourse with great reverence. Then the patron saint blesses the waters in order to ensure a good year for the crops and the livestock. After the blessing, all the families have an outdoor lunch on the field. They share various dishes like fried guinea pig, spicy whole kernel wheat, pasta with meat sauce and cornmeal tortillas. After lunch, the main dancers and the Huacaña agree on the steps to be performed and the tunes to be played. This provides the opportunity for a brief competition of quick dances. Before sunset, the villagers return to the town square singing and dancing in lines or with falas, led by the Dansaq and the Cardenas. The main square is then filled by a happy crowd of dancing, singing and drinking villagers, who continue to make merry until the small hours of the morning, together with the different groups of dancers and musicians. The third day of the festivities starts with the alba, the ritual salute to the authorities. As this is Independence Day, during the morning there is a parade headed by the authorities, followed by the Cardenas, the Dansaq, the musicians and the school children. Lunch at the Cardenas' house was accompanied by wino music and some couples danced. Then the whole group went once again to the town square. The scissors dances are the main attraction during all times of these festivities of the patron saint. Their training as dancers and their physical fitness is crucial, as they have to captivate a very demanding and knowledgeable audience. Each gesture, each movement, each step is carefully observed and assessed. Their performance is frequently interrupted by applause, shouts of approval or jeers, according to the mood of the public. Their dancing is physically exhausting, and no one could resist such a performance without a thorough training of body and mind. The Atapanakui was followed by a performance of the school children, a beautiful dance, the Kashwa, representing farm labour and love at the same time.
Panichayay, kay pampa pitusikus. Yapayan chitay na chata, hampas niyo kapas kay na chata. Yapayan chikay na chata, hampas niyo kapas kay na chata. Asurusuri krachay, pelas niya wisayang. Asurusuri krachay, pelas niya wisayang. Lay la lay la lay lay, lay la lay la lay.
The 29th starts with the alba at the house of the Cargonte of the Bulls. This ceremony is particularly important as it is the start of the Livestock Fair, a very significant part of the festivities, both economically and symbolically. Among those present, there were not only the Cargontes and their group of dancers, musicians, relatives and friends, but also the authorities. Some female relatives of the Cargante played a very active role, not only in distributing alcohol and chicha, but also in jokingly presenting claims to the Huacaña. This is the fourth day of uninterrupted consumption of industrial alcohol diluted with water, and the physical consequences are becoming visible. Nevertheless, their resistance is to be admired. There was also a new element during this alba. The women asked the musicians to play a whino. The dancers stopped dancing and provided an accompaniment to the dancing couples by clicking their scissors to the rhythm of the music. During the afternoon, there was a mock bullfight, a sort of caricature of those that took place in ancient times, when there were still some wild bulls in the region, like the Misutu bulls of the plains of Konyani. After the bullfight, the female relatives and friends of the Cargonte of the bulls drank, sang and danced the shoeing dance to the music of typical instruments like violins, harps and wakrapukus.
De salud pues me encuentro un poco más desde la fecha en que realizó el Chajo en galeras, en lo cual pues en parte más difícil que nosotros tenemos es pasta y creo que no le he calculado bien parte de la espada, ¿no? Y hemos hecho como meterle para adentro
en la boca.
Claro. Y como entonces pues la espada mide pues como 50 centímetros. Entonces pues como faltaba ya pues ya nos faltaban los minutos que nos habían dado 15 minutos y teníamos que ganar el tiempo. Por ganar el tiempo pues un poquito fuerza que le inquirí. Entonces pues de esa fecha me encuentro un poquito más. Yo voy con ánimo de estar presente en Atipanaco y cumplir con mi trabajo especialmente y quedar bien con el pueblo de esta localidad de Huacaña.
Le faltó decir pues que era un gallo giro que pelea hasta la muerte. Así son los danzantes de tijera aquí en el distrito de Huacaña.
Before the beginning of the great Atipanakui, the Dansaq go into the church and bring out the statue of Saint Isidore the Farmer on his litter. They take it to a place of honor on the square, so that the patron saint can preside over the competition. The order of the competition is defined by the dancers and their leaders according to their skills, their knowledge of tradition and the opinion of the audience. The Dansaq know that the winner will be the one that dances more artistically and creatively, that better symbolizes the tradition of the Andean world, that puts his heart into his performance and has a better musical accompaniment. These great masters have performed before many audiences. They have the psychological know-how that allows them to sense the mood of the public. They know when to make a certain step, how to look at their adversaries, and which rhythm to choose for their different numbers. During the 8 hours of the competition, the Dansaq danced 12 different tunes and performed many steps and choreographic arrangements. The audience saw its expectations fulfilled, although some older members thought that they were not as good as in ancient times. The halcon, falcon, had been sick during the whole week. Nevertheless, he insisted on participating with the same intensity as the other competitors, although he was obviously very weak. As the time passed, the competition became more intense. The steps were increasingly difficult, and the dancers tried to outperform their rivals. The audience had its favourites, and the internal fire of the performers invaded the scene. All those present were fascinated by the magic of this scissors dance in its natural environment, an Andean village, so different from the performances played for tourists in Lima. For centuries, Catholic priests have tried to disseminate the idea that the Dansaq make a deal with the devil. This has nothing to do with reality, for this devil is the mountain god of the Andean religion. The Dansaq are intermediaries between the mountain gods and the inhabitants of the earth. They are surrounded by an aura of mystery and are said to have supernatural powers. the dancers experience a sense of dryness in the mouth, profuse sweating, agitated breathing, and a feeling of being hot all over. However, these sensations spur them on to perform even more intensely, without taking into account the consequences of such an exhausting exercise. On the other hand, the members of the audience feel the commitment of the dancers and experience a certain bonding with them. During these 5 days, the Dansaq have performed a series of rituals and ceremonies that are typical of the Andean festivities of a patron saint. Their main role has been twofold. They have brought together the whole town, uniting it around a common festivity, and they have reproduced the symbolic world of a culture that strives to survive in modern times.